What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Tim Warren Trading Channel, where we are putting out content a couple of times a week, just giving you updates on what is happening right here, right now, in the mornings. And today we're kind of still addressing the crypto madness. Of course, crypto has been crashing from recent highs. And the question is the crash slowing down? Are we coming to the end of it, or do we have a little bit further to go to the downside? I'm going to tackle those questions, tell you what my next move is in this video. So stick around. Make sure you stick around for the entire video. It shouldn't be crazy long, 25 minutes, but important information about what is going on. We will be live on the Tim Warren channel this afternoon. We'll cover some of the details I'm covering today right now, but I'll go into more depth on what happens in the afternoon as well. So first of all, I want to make sure we're clear here. I'm not a financial advisor, so please don't take my content as something that you should treat as financial advice. This is educational and entertainment purposes. It is me addressing what I'm looking at in the news, what I'm seeing on the charts, and what I'm thinking to do. Ultimately, you need to take a control of your own portfolio, take control of your own thoughts, do your own research, and hopefully just use me as a reference for your own decision-making when you're investing in crypto. A lot of people have lost a whole lot of money in the last couple of weeks, so make sure you're careful in the world of investing, even during raging bull markets. Be careful. Things can get kind of crazy here. Let's get into it, though. Bitcoin with a little bit of a rebound here this morning. Now, there's a handful of charts I want to go into later in the video. I want to cover some things over on my X account, some news stories, maybe some of you are aware of, some of you are not. But I did want to address Bitcoin is having a little bounce right here. You can also see clearly some pretty high volume came in with this bottom. What that often represents is a reversal of selling pressure, right? All this selling pressure coming down, the high volume comes in. It's the exchange of the sellers turning into buyers. So is that the bottom? Not necessarily. I'm going to go into more detail on that here in a little bit. At least I don't think it's the bottom, right? There's a chance. There's always a chance it's the bottom. But I want to leave you with some good news right now. So if you were in our trading group, our VIP trading group, yesterday we were just preparing for a long, almost all day. Why? Because the 1 hour was screaming at us when money flow wanted to come back up. Sure enough, we got a great trigger back here around 6 o'clock last night. We were able to get into a long, hit some take profit up to the top. I'm now out of it. I wish I stayed in a little bit longer because this looks like it's going to continue to the upside. But because of the volatility yesterday, I was being very careful with my longs. How high do I think that Bitcoin can go? It's going to be a question we have to tackle in this video. I think when you first take a look at it, as we turn on some indicators, now that we're seeing bullish momentum, 1 hour smart trail at 103.6 is a very interesting place. The 4 hour even is kind of giving us some slight signs that maybe it wants to turn into a buy signal. In fact, there's kind of some signals flashing. The money flow is not technically positive yet. So take that what you will, right? The money flow needs to turn positive, but we have reversals. We have bullish momentum. We have this little indicator right in here that historically has actually been pretty good. They don't pop up a lot, but pretty good at calling positions to long or positions to short. But the money flow is not positive yet. If that money flow goes positive, then I would put some emphasis on saying, watch out for this area between 105 and 106 to be hit back up towards the 4 hour smart trail. One of the reasons why I think we could go a little higher here today is because yesterday, the 15-minute sell signals were lethal and they were killing the markets, right? If you had just been using our indicator in our VIP trading group on the 15-minute chart, selling when these things hit, you could have made some great moves. I missed out on a lot of great entries because I was spending a lot of time on the 1 hour and 4 hour. The 15-minute was great. However, what happened last night is as we started to get some sell signals in the 15-minute chart, it started dwindling how significant the 15-minute sells were moving. What does this mean? On a longer-term time frame, right? If I were to go out even all the way to the 4 hour chart, we're clearly still in a bear market, right? Let me rephrase that because that is the wrong word I want to use there. Bear trend. I'm not confirming a bear market. Get me down below 30%. Let me push closer towards 40 and I might say bear market. But we're in a bear trend. Daily chart, 4 hour chart, we are putting in lower highs and lower lows, okay? But on a 15-minute chart right now, we have moved into higher highs and higher lows, which makes me believe we'll probably for sure hit our 1 hour smart trail buy signal. And if we trigger that 4 hour buy signal, which I do think will happen, all of a sudden we're talking about 105 to 106 as being levels to keep an eye on. That being said, I'm not seeing the same level of positivity necessarily out on longer time frames like the 12-hour and the daily. Yes, they're oversold. Yes, they could pop up at any time, but I'm not convinced yet the bottom is in. I'm going to go into that a little bit later in the video. Let's move over into some things that you need to be aware of right now. I put this over my X. If you're not following me on X, I don't know what you're doing. Toobit's in there. I don't know what you're doing. We're putting out a lot of content every single day to keep people up to date. Like the minute we find out about something, we're putting it out over here on X so you can stay up to date on this one. In case you missed it, Bitcoin Fear and Greed. Oh, look at that ad. What an interesting ad. Bitcoin Fear and Greed right now, after yesterday or 2 days ago coming in at 21, if I refresh this page, give me just a second. I'm sure there's going to be an ad. There we go. It ticked back up last night to 23. This makes no sense to me whatsoever because the prices actually went lower, which is part of why I do believe we could see it go a little bit lower in terms of the $99,000 price from yesterday. I don't know if that's the bottom. One of the biggest reasons why is because of this chart right here, where you'll see I marked out for you on the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index. It seems like major bottom moves like to get at least close to, if not below, a 10 on the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index. And right now, that's just not what we have going on. So be aware of that. Some other things to be aware of. Obviously, yesterday we had $300 million worth of crypto longs were liquidated. That's one of the big reasons we crashed to the downside. I'm going to skip that one for now. We have some other posts there. Some big news coming out here yesterday, last night even. China Premier Li said China is going to promote and enhance new growth drivers in digital sectors. Of course, recently Donald Trump said that China is going big on crypto. Is that what they're talking about? Something to be interested in, something to follow and pay attention to. Asia did not go well necessarily last night. Japan's stock market fell nearly 4.5% at the open. What does that mean? We'll talk more about that this afternoon. Here's some things that I was posting last night you should be aware of. I don't know if you guys are following all the news. We covered this, that banks had their lowest reserves since 2020 recently, about $2.8 billion, or was it trillion? I don't remember what. I think it's 2.8 billion in reserves. Very, very low. I want to make sure you guys are clear on this. The banks are doing worse than most people are going to want to admit. Banks are not doing well. There are these things you're hearing about banks being close to insolvent are true. At least certain ones. We are watching people, absolutely. Why are we watching M2 money supply increase, yet the markets come down? It's because liquidity is a problem. Here's what you need to know about it, though. When this stuff happens, the Fed bails banks out. There's too many people's lives who would be ruined if banks absolutely collapsed. They don't want a recession. Nobody wants a recession. Nobody wants the banks to collapse. So what are they going to do? Well, the Fed's already started. They've already started to inject money into banks, but they're going to turn the money printer on hard and fast. They might not call it quantitative easing, but effectively it'll be a lot like that. Here's the bad news. Your dollars will be inflated into oblivion. Just how it works. Good news, if you're a crypto holder, Bitcoin and crypto will be the hope. That's where people are going to turn. When the dollar prints into oblivion and liquidity comes back to bail out banks, people are going to run to crypto. People are going to run to definitely Bitcoin, but I even think not all crypto, not meme coins. Look at Bitcoin, look at Ethereum, look at Chainlink, look at things like Solana and XRP and others. That's where you need to be holding your wealth. Gold as well. Gold and certain stocks as well is where things will go. All right. That's going to kind of cover all the news we need to talk about here. Let's get back into the charts and take a look at what's going on. By the way, the fear is not just in the crypto space. This is the VIX in the stock market. It also increased here last night, getting back up above 20. So VIX volatility, this is a fear and greed index for stock market, increased once again as stocks had a slight slump. I don't think the top for stock market is in either, but clearly you guys can see here as I'm recording this, we haven't opened yet today. What's the opening looking like this morning? I'm sure it's slightly high. Yeah, it's going to open a little bit higher than where we closed yesterday, but we are dipping right now in the stock market. VIX going up is a good sign of that. However, again, whales and manipulators, composite man, they like to buy when you see fear like this. When VIX goes up, when fear and greed index falls down, that's when they like to buy. Can the VIX go higher? Absolutely. Can Bitcoin fear and greed index go lower? Absolutely. But I do think the bottom could be close. But let's get back over here because Bitcoin is about to hit 103,000 as we are recording this video. Like I said, there looks like some short-term bullishness here today. Some levels I'd be keeping an eye on. If you want to know how I'm trading this, I'm going to save that for my VIP trading members. But there are some interesting things. I've already shown you some smart trails that are of interest on Bitcoin. I'm already showing you some levels of fair value gaps and order blocks, but I'm going to pull out some Fibonacci tools for you guys. And I'm going to go back here to this high before this collapse started, right back on Sunday the 2nd around 3 a.m. We started to collapse here. Big pullback. Fibonacci, if we have a short-term bottom, right? I'm not ready to commit to a long-term bottom. I'll explain why here in a second. But a short-term bottom, here's a couple of levels you want to be aware of. And by the way, when you turn on my toolkit here, this is called Flow Signals, by the way, is the name of this indicator. You only get it right now if you are in my VIP trading group, but you do get it for free for signing up. The 0.382 level at 103.5-ish, very interesting level to keep an eye on. I think the momentum is kind of carrying us closer towards 105, but where I'm looking just under 105, the 0.5 level, we have seen the 0.5 level be hit several times now using Fibonacci. Let's see you back here. I think you're going to see it on this little bounce right in here. This one might have been yeah, there you go. Look at how right there, the 0.5 level. I know it's messy, so let me get rid of this one real quick. We rejected right on the 0.5 level before continuing to downside. So don't miss out on those ones. Don't not pay attention to it. Again, even if you don't think the bottom is in, rebounding to the 0.382, the 0.5, and the last one I'm going to tell you will be the 0.618, or what we call the golden pocket, around 106,300. Those three areas I think are very interesting resistance. Like I said, it will kind of line up right there around that golden pocket, right there around the top of the smart trail on the 4-hour chart. Going to the 1-hour chart, the 1-hour chart is going to give us some resistance here a little bit closer, I think, towards this 0.382, but I got to let for it low. There we go, right above that 0.382. So a lot of kind of support coming in there. Oh, look at that big order block right there around that 106.3 as well. So that's the resistance levels I'm looking at. If you want to know what I'm doing in my trading, again, I'm saving that for the VIP trading group, but I'm giving you some signals to the upside to watch for resistance as we're rebounding. What I will say, if Bitcoin does climb and get back above, I think you really need to see 116 to feel safe about it. But I would say if we break this structure here and get back above 111, there's probably a decent chance that a move above 111 could be a confirming indicator that we do actually see a bull structure coming in. What I would like to see maybe a little bit more, though, there is a downtrend right now. Let's break this red downtrend of resistance. I'm going to turn this into green just because that's a support level that we did lose here a little bit ago. But if we could get above this red level, and again, that's going to be here somewhere in the world of above $111,000, that's going to be a very good sign the bottom could/should be in. Let's talk about, though, why I don't think the bottom is in just yet. If you guys watched my show last week, I did point out to you two different things on this chart right now. First of all, right here, head and shoulders pattern, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Okay, this is the micro head and shoulders pattern. It has not finished playing out. Why? Because the head took us all the way down here. Let's go down. I'm going to be conservative here. I'm not even going to drop it over here. I'm going to say this conservative head and shoulders pattern still suggests 97.5 could be hit. That's looking at a micro head and shoulders pattern. What about the macro head and shoulders pattern? Look at this one right here. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Well, what about this one? Well, let's take that neckline. Let's change it out here a little bit. Or actually, let's just draw a new one. I'm going to be conservative here, give it a neckline kind of like this. I'm not going to take into account the October craziness, but I'm going to say that's a little neckline right there. Well, head down to the shoulder and a move below that support level. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, predicts closer towards a $92,000 Bitcoin. I'm not saying or promising we go that low, but let me show you some other reasons why potentially the bottom is not quite in yet. The weekly chart, we've been tracking this for quite some time. We actually got really close yesterday, but we haven't officially hit the smart trail on the weekly chart. I know it looks like it's close, but when you zoom in, we did not get there. What am I talking about? The weekly chart. Weeks ago, back in July, we got a sell signal on Bitcoin's weekly chart. The last couple of times this has happened, think back in December or January of 25. Think about March and April of 24. Notice that these sell signals don't just drop to the smart trail. They're usually putting a wick or two below them before continuing to the upside. Even back here, we wicked to the smart trail back in September of 2023. We haven't done that quite yet. That wick, or the smart trail, technically goes to about 98.6. However, that's not the only reason. Again, I told you we can wick below on the weekly chart and stay above that smart trail overall. Let's go back to Fibonacci levels right here. Go back to the lows we had in March of 2025, or April of 2025, excuse me. This is going to be another key level to keep an eye on. There's two things I'm watching. Right now, we're kind of holding up at the 0.382. The 0.5 level right below 97,000, that lines up with that first head and shoulders pattern, and also the golden pocket coming in around the $91,000 level, lining up with the macro head and shoulders pattern. They absolutely should be on your radar to watch. Why? Because almost every single correction this year using Fibonacci has played into these roles. Take a look back here. After finding some small support in February 23, where did we pull back to on Fibonacci? The 0.5 level. How about a big rally up here after having a small correction on Bitcoin ETFs? Take a look at this little support level up to those March highs. Where do we come to? Well, multiple wicks to 0.5, but one wick as low as that golden pocket. Keep going. Let's take a look up here from the lows here in July of 24 to the highs of January. Where did we correct down to? The 0.5 level. So right now with us, this has actually been one of the least significant corrections, yet people are losing their head. We haven't even hit the 0.5 level. And again, I don't think it's ridiculous to think we get close to or touch the golden pocket either. And all of this, by the way, keeps us into bullish momentum. This keeps us in a bull market. It just means it's another correction for Bitcoin and the crypto markets. And before I let you go, that's pretty much a lot of what I wanted to cover. Make sure you guys smash the like on this video. Make sure you're subscribed if this has been helpful content. Some other reasons I'm not so certain that the bottom is in just yet. Let's take a look at it right now. Bitcoin dominance continues to make moves towards the upside. I'm going to go towards the daily chart here. We have now had at least 2 days close above this red line. We've had 1 day open and close, not even wick below it. And now we're working on another day here right now. We were hopeful this Bitcoin dominance could drop, but right now this is trending towards the upside. I don't think we're going to see a massive rally. In fact, I think this could be some evidence that the Bitcoin bottom is not in yet. And if the Bitcoin bottom's not in yet, more than likely neither are altcoins bottoms in. Look for bounces and volatility today, but I'm going to continue to believe that after a nice bounce day up closer towards 105 to 106, probably still a good chance we have one more lower shakeout to the downside to go. Get that Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index back down closer to or at 10, and that's what we're still looking for on those charts. By the way, USDT dominance. Now, this is actually a good sign, I will say, but we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. USD dominance is coming, kind of running into resistance. If it breaks this resistance level, I'm not saying that it will skyrocket to the upside. What I am saying is that's also something that could delay the bull run here for a little bit more time, more than we wanted to overall. So keep an eye on the Bitcoin dominance chart. Keep an eye on the USDT dominance chart. Keep an eye on Bitcoin's chart. I mean, overall, it's not that altcoins aren't important, but as long as that Bitcoin dominance is trending up, the Bitcoin chart is the most important chart in crypto to be paying attention to. And until we see sustained bull run coming back with higher highs and higher lows, once again, getting back above 111,000, you've got to be suspicious that this bear trend and this pullback is not over. Now, before I let you go, I think I said this a couple times now. This is a one take, right? I know it's a pre-recorded video, but it's a one take here. So it's kind of like I'm live. I'm literally probably make this video 10 minutes before you're seeing it if you're watching it as I'm releasing it. This is something you got to lock on into. There are things that I've absolutely gotten wrong this year. I never pretend to be perfect. If you go to my X account, I had a nice post about that today. That's one of the things I think separate me from others. I am always outright and forthright with my wrongs. I get things wrongs. This year, I thought we'd start a bull market early in 2025. Did not happen. I thought we could start it with some news coming out in the summer. Did not happen. I told you guys that I thought October could be very bullish. Clearly, I was wrong. I'm going to tell you when I'm wrong, and I have been wrong. If that means you don't want to follow me anymore, that's completely okay. But I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to tell you that I'm this perfect indicator and that I get everything right. Nobody does. The difference between me and others is I'm simply going to tell you. However, one thing I'm not going to release just yet and say that I'm wrong on is that I told you in January of this year that what it would take for crypto to skyrocket would be regulatory clarity and liquidity coming back. One of the reasons why I kept calling for bull runs is because we had signs early in the year that that stuff could happen, and it got kicked back. We had signs in the summer that could happen. It got kicked back. We had signs that it could happen in October, and even though we started cutting rates for the Fed, it turns out with banks going insolvent and the Fed not getting rid of quantitative tightening just yet, the liquidity is drying up. So effectively, while I've been wrong about the timeline of bull runs, I remain correct that what's going to cause this rally is going to be added liquidity and the regulation being approved by the U.S. government. I want to say we're a couple days. I want to say a couple weeks away, a couple months away. I would love to tell you that's going to happen before the end of 2026. At this point, I'm going to stop putting a date on it. I'm just going to tell you, stay around. Pay attention to the news. Pay attention to what the Fed is doing with liquidity. Pay attention to what the government does. Let's get the government back open. Let's end the government shutdown. Let's vote on some bills that approve regulation so that these large institutions can release their funds into it. We know China wants to go really big, or at least it looks like they want to go really big in crypto. This is not the time to be running away. It's the time to lock in, stay focused, invest in your education, invest in learning how to trade these markets, how to read the charts and read the news. And those who can hodl on and keep going, they will make money. When? That's the question. I don't know when you're going to make money. I don't know when the bull run's going to come back. But there's still so many catalysts that are coming around the corner that will spark a bull run. I continue to believe this is a great reset right now where retail are fleeing and institutions are loving it because they're gobbling up these cheap prices of altcoins. And even though Bitcoin, I wouldn't call it cheap, it's cheap compared to the last couple of weeks. Make sure to be vigilant and keep doing your own research. Think for yourself. Don't follow the herd. Think for yourself. Guys, that's all I have for you in this video. I'll be live this afternoon on the Tim Warren channel. Love you guys. Smash like it, subscribe. Adios.